All right, we are recording. Beautiful. Okay, when we last left our heroes, they were unable to dot source their parent class file. Let's see how they endured. So I looked this up in an old script that I had because I haven't done this in quite some time. And when I saw the solution, it all just came flooding back to me. So here's the deal. This is a class file, or this is a class, and classes have to be known to PowerShell when my mind just went right when the script is parsed, right? Not when the execution starts, but when it's parsed. And so there are really only two ways to do that in PowerShell fully. One of them is to create the class manually in the session and then run your script, or with the using module syntax that you see on line 13. So in the old days, all we could do was use import module. Damn it. But import module has a huge drawback in that, here, let me do something. In that if I had, let's say I wanted to import this file as a module, these classes would not be available, or this class would not be available. For import module, only the functions are exported to the user. So I could use any functions I had in here, but the classes would be invisible and you'd get the same error that the class couldn't be found. And I think that's because import module really works at runtime, whereas using module works at parse time. Are we clear on that so far? Good. So when I use using module, it parses the script, it looks at this guy, and it says, oh, you know, I need to import this guy, I need to create this guy and import it. But when I'm using import module, it says, oh, I'm going to wait till runtime, and I'm going to include this thing, and oh my God, it's not here, right? So that's the difference between the two. And how do I get this as a module, you might ask? Well, it's very simple. You guys recognize this from yesterday. This is the same class file, the same parent class file that we did yesterday. And you just save it as a PSM1, PowerShell module 1. That takes no changes whatsoever. So, there are two ways to load the module in here. Give me a sec. One of them is by relative path or full path, right? So you can specify the path, relative or full. Or you can put it in the, I think it's PS modules folder. That will be a session setting, and that's a session variable, right? So you can look in your session variables and see where your PS modules are kept, and you can put it in there, and then you can just load it by name. But since we're going to put this in our own folder with our own scripts, then we're going to use the relative path. Is any of that unclear so far? Good.
No.
Okay. You sounded very confident there. Okay, so rules. The only real rule for importing with using module is that it has to be the absolute first statement in the script. It doesn't have to be above all of the comments, but there can be no other statements whatsoever above it. So as long as you got that down, you're more or less golden. And you can put multiple using modules in here, right? You can put multiple using statements in here. That's fine. So that is why we didn't get our compilation yesterday. And that's why we are going to get it today, because now I've got this as a PS1. I've got this right there. Now when I run it, now I get my stuff. And just as a recap from yesterday, you notice how in here, let me see, was that in here? Nope, okay. How in here, what am I looking for? Yeah, get over there. How these guys are filled in. And these guys are filled in because I instantiated this, query SQL. I instantiated query SQL with with these 4 parameters and set those properties, but those properties that were set are in here, not in here. I come here to class. See, the properties are gone. All I have now are the constructors. And this guy. So I'm just showing you that when you instantiate the class you're looking for, in this case, is going to be query SQL, so that I can do something with it, even though all of the properties are in the parent class. That's by design, right? Even the connection string got populated even though it was in the parent class. So this is another way of code reuse that we look for all the time, so that we can take this parent class and always have a connection to SQL, and we never have to go around to all of our scripts and change it if we decide to make a change to the way we're connecting to SQL. We can always do this parent class. And as long as what needs to remain the same for this to work. Let's say that I change this to, say, an ODBC connection, or I change this to a different connection library. And I've got this as a parent class to all 60 of my scripts. What do I have to make sure happens to make sure that nothing breaks? That's not rhetorical. Anybody? You know this. This will work as long as I what? Is this an audience or an oil painting?
We can change in one place, so all the scripts get that change.
Right, that's not even close to what I asked. So let's go down this road, okay? I want you to reason this out. This is a parent class. This is a child class. I can tell that because of this. Now, if I were, let's say I had 60 other scripts that used this parent class via this method. if I were to come in here and change the way this connects, it'll automatically be changed. I mean, all the other scripts will automatically get it. Will get the change, right?
Yeah.
And nothing will break as long as I what?
We add that first line, like,
No, it's already there. What do I have to make sure I do in the parent class to make sure that none of the other lower levels will break? If I tell you you're
The
going to kick
properties
yourself,
are removed.
no. If I tell you you're going to kick yourself, I'm telling you. Okay, let me put it to you this way. I have to make sure I don't do what?
in parent class.
I have to make sure
in
I
parent
don't.
class, right?
Yeah, I have to make sure I don't do what?
Don't use constructor over there to.
I don't do what?
If you don't return a value for the
No.
method.
I kind of need that value, don't I? Because everything's looking for the connection string.
Yes.
As long as my class does what? Or my method, really.
returns a value.
Returns a value?
As long, yeah, returns a
So
string.
Returns
that'll
the
work?
given like
No?
return type, the proper return type.
Right. So as long as I do what? Say the words.
As long as we return the
Follow the
correct.
contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as we enforce the contract. Don't
Right.
break the contract. See, I told you you'd kick yourself if I told you. All of this will work. I can change this to anything I want in here, including a hard-coded value, as long as I return a string. Now, does that mean that I can set the string equal to Sean and I'll actually make a database connection? No. But that's a separate story, right? I mean, I assume that if you're going to come in here and you're going to change the way things are done, that you're going to test it and make sure that the string you're getting back is what you need, right? But by the time, so after you get out of the syntax phase, by the time you actually make that change and push it into your code base, everybody else will pick it up and nobody will have a problem as long as what?
We follow the contracts.
Yes.
Yeah, when the contract is intact.
Right. Can't stress that enough. For you viewers at home that are listening to this on tape, I can't stress that enough. Don't break the contract. That's what this is for. Okay. Beautiful. So now that we've got all that down, are there any questions on any of that? If you don't understand something, let me know. If you're just fuzzy on something.
I'm good.
Okay. Excellent.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. Then for this portion, I'm going to stop the recording.